Ambassador Haley, you were in that Security Council dealing with our Russian and Chinese friends all the time. Give us a little bit of insight into your observations about China's opposition to this, the lifting of the support of the lifting of the arms embargo. What's in their mind? What could we do differently? Was it ever a viable possibility that Russia and China were not going to oppose our efforts at the UN Security Council?
You know, I think, Mark, it was obvious that they were going to oppose it. You know, what was not obvious is that the Europeans were going to oppose it. And I think what you have to look at is China and Russia are rushing to get the business from Iran because they know that they're going to want to buy weapons. And we also know what they're going to do with it. The thing is, Russia and China would love nothing more than to see Iran continue to say death to America, continue to say death to Israel, and continue to have the weapons to threaten us with that. You know, but what we have to look at the fact is, while disappointed as we are about the Europeans and the way they have responded to this, we have another set of allies that we didn't always have. We now have Arab countries who know the threat of Iran, who know what it means, and it's their region. They're telling the world Iran is dangerous. They're telling the world that Iran is funding these proxies. They're telling the world that they don't want this arms embargo to go away. They want to make sure that we extend it out. They want to make sure that if we don't, that we put sanctions on it. And I think that's the part of what, you know, this administration started year one with that Arab meeting that was so important. And the idea that the Emiratis, the Israelis, and the US came together last week, huge move in terms of a threat to Iran. Having other countries follow, I think that that's going to happen, and it's going to continue to weaken Iran in the process. But we can't turn our eyes away from what Iran is trying to do. And I think that we also need to look at, why did the Europeans oppose us? The Europeans didn't oppose us because they think we're wrong. The Europeans opposed us because they've always been a part of a multilateral group. You know, whether it's the EU, that they're always doing everything with the EU. At the UN, they think that it's better to be part of a multilateral deal than it is to, even if that deal is flawed, even if that deal is not being followed, they want to make sure that they are a part of something, because they don't want to lead. They don't want to stand alone. And so they didn't want to be, if to them, they saw it as if there was no deal, then Iran was a bigger threat. That's just not the truth. And so I dealt with the Europeans there, especially on the Iran deal, when we were getting out of the Iran deal. And it was fear that drove them. It was fear of, but if we get out of the deal, what will Iran do to us? Well, that's not how you lead. That's not what we do to stay strong. What we do is we let Iran know we're on to them. We continue to weaken their economy. We continue to put sanctions on, and we continue to work with our Arab partners and our other allies that realize the threat of Iran, and the Europeans will come along. They'll come along late, which is what they do, but they will eventually come along.